Hey, MG. I just got in the office. I'm running a little late today. Had to drop puppers off for grooming. Anywho, I seen sweet Miss Thompson from apartment 380 standing outside the office. She's locked herself out of her apartment. Could you be a dear and go let her in, please?
Hey, boss. I've been here since 6 a.m. working on this pipe, and I got word coming up the gang. Can't someone open the door for her?
Well, she lost her key, and we don't have another one here in the key box.
Oh, man, that means I'm going to have to drill off that lock.
It'll only take a minute. Thank you for being such a team player. I'll let her know you're on your way.
Now, when I met her, she said that she had her tubes tied. And now, 8 kids later, I'm like, what you tie 'em with? Ribbon? Hair ribbon? I literally have water up to my neck.
And I'm sure you're doing a wonderful job. However, I need you to go over to apartment 234. Her stove is sparking.
Just tell her don't use the stove.
Yes. Oh, Lord. Lord, very nice. Yes. So I need you to drop what you're doing and just go over there. We are all doing our part to make this property run as smooth as possible. So, thank you for all you do. I'll tell her you're on your way.
Hello? Maintenance?
I'll be ain't this about it? I told y'all if y'all came over here and fixed my stove, there wouldn't be no fires going on right now. All y'all had to do was give me a new stove. That's all I've been asking for. Serve yo, that's right. I told you to get that stove fixed, but at least my baby didn't get burnt.
Hey, Mr. Trife is here from Trifling Trees and Landscaping. He wants to go over the bid he sent you.
Man, I ain't got time for him ordering trifling trees. I'm trying to fix the pipe. It's almost 5 o'clock and my son got a game at 6.
Sounds like someone needs a class on time management. I'll sign you up for a Chase Hill class. But in the meantime, Mr. Trife has pizza, and he will be waiting for you in my office.
That thing, you already paid me for this crap. I'm not gonna blow up. I'm one with the universe. What the heck is wrong with you people? I'm trying to fix this dad blasted sink, but you keep ringing my phone. I almost drowned. I caught on fire. On fire! And you call me for some flipping trees?
Hey, you gotta show them what they doubted. You reaping what you sowed from when you told them all about it. If they don't want to grow, let the show go on without them. You go with them, you go through them, you go...
Julia Eckhart said, "Before we can soar into our dream job, we have to build our wings in a day job." Man, that's some pretty intense stuff. So our episode for today is called Maintenance Care. Maintenance Care. And today I have with me Lamarquis Remarkable Jefferson. Now let me tell you about this guy from Youngstown, Ohio. Big ups to the yo. He's from Youngstown, Ohio. And this man has collaborations, and he can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm talking everything from Outkast to TLC to, oh my gosh, Drake. I mean, when I look at all of these credits, I'm like, oh my God, some of the stuff I didn't even know. But what's wild is, people, this man started as a maintenance tech. So this is going to be an awesome, awesome show. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, on By the 5th, let me welcome you in with Lamarquis Remarkable Jefferson. Mark, what's up, brother?
What's up, Tigo T? How you doing, man?
Good. Man, I'm so excited to have you on the show today.
It's been a while, brother. I'm excited to be here, man. You're doing big things, I see, man. I'm proud of you. Extremely proud.
Thank you, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you who don't know, me and Mark go way back, man, way back. And I'm telling you, when it comes to my creativity and in music and all of that stuff, man, this guy mentored me when I was a snotty-nosed little kid, trying to do everything under the sun. This man was like, okay, you need to do this. You need to do that. And pulled my coattail a couple times. So
right.
I let this man right
I
here.
had to do that. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Hey, Mark, let's jump right into it. So let's talk about, you're from Youngstown. That's right?
Yep. From born in Youngstown, Ohio. Sure was. Back in 1965.
65. Man, let me tell you, there are so many great people that come out of Youngstown.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me. Yeah.
A lot of good talent, too.
Big ups to
lot of good talent.
Oh, my gosh. Some of the best talent comes out of there, man. Big ups to Tito Brown, my good friend there. That's the mayor there in Youngstown right now. And, man, it's always good to see people make it and do well from Youngstown.
Exactly.
So let's get into it. How did you get from Youngstown to the ATL?
Man, so I think I was probably about 9 years old. My parents used to come down to Atlanta every year for what was then called the Cool Jazz Festival. And my dad he would come back with stories, right, of how all of the black people down here were doing so well. They had their own businesses. They were driving, Mercedes. They had, $500,000, $1 million houses. And just seeing, black people down here doing it on a level in which he never imagined he would have the opportunity to. He was like, man, you know what? I want to move my family down here and, make my own way. Excuse me. And that's exactly what he did. We moved down here and he started his construction business. And, one of his biggest contracts, he got this huge contract, especially for a minority. One of his biggest contracts was putting in the moving sidewalks at the airport. So whenever you go through Hartsfield Airport and you get on those moving sidewalks, my dad put those in. Yeah.
Wow. Did not know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. But yeah, those moving sidewalks, he was part of putting those whole things in, man. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, that's how it happened. So, at 9 years old, he packed up, the entire family. And, we moved down here to Atlanta, man. Been here ever since.
Wow. And I know what you mean, because, when, my dad used to call Atlanta the land of milk and honey, right?
Yeah.
He talked about it when we were kids, we could just try to imagine it, man. And when we finally went, it was like, oh my gosh, they're doing this and they're doing that. And these black people aren't dope dealers. For us,
right.
Coming from the hood, that was amazing to us.
Yeah, it was everything. It was amazing. Still is, and I've been here, for years, man. And, it's still amazing, to see, our people, and minorities, period,
Yes.
Taking advantage of the opportunities that are down here in the South. So, yeah, I mean, it's here for the taking. Just got to get out there and, go for it.
Yes, absolutely. So was it your dad's construction that got you into doing that type of work, like maintenance work and things like that?
It prepared me. It definitely prepared me, because a lot of things that my dad learned in trade school, he passed on to me. So when I applied for my first job as a maintenance tech, when I left my dad's construction company, I was, pretty well qualified and I knew a lot of things already. So, when I was considered for the position, they asked me a few questions in the interview process. I was able to answer those questions, fairly easily, which let them know, yeah, this kid is young, but, he know what he's talking about. He know what he's doing. So, yeah, that helped me to definitely land my first gig as a maintenance man.
Awesome. Man, if I can remember correctly, you had a little truck. It had maintenance tools, but it also had some boom in that truck.
Yeah. I had my little Nissan Pathfinder. And
yes.
Yeah, that thing it was my first new vehicle I had ever bought. I forgot what year it was.
Wow.
But yeah, it was my first new vehicle I ever bought, but yeah, it came after grinding and doing maintenance for a little bit. But I was able to get my first new truck, man. I was so proud of it. It had no AC. It had no AC, no power steering, and it was a 4-speed. But you know what? It was mine.
Right. He like, forget
all
the
brand
stuff.
new.
It's 200 degrees in Atlanta, but this is my truck.
It's my truck. Roll the window down.
Oh, man. Right.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man. So most of our audience work in property management, right? And so, whether it's in maintenance tech or working, in the office as leasing consultants, what have you. On our YouTube site, we do a little animated story, a little humor, and we do a little story about something that happened. And on the one that's going with today's episode, there's a maintenance guy, and he keeps getting called to do something else while he's in the middle of a huge emergency. And in his mind, he sees the property manager up there getting her nails done, and she's up there just having a ball partying and getting her toes done. He like, you calling me for another work order? Now, have you ever had to experience anything like that?
Oh, man. Yeah, and it's always crazy because I would always get these calls when I'm on call. You know what I mean? So, it can't happen during regular work hours when I'm actually at work. It's always something that happens when I'm on call. And I would always get, these people that would, might call about their doorknob. Just say something simple as a doorknob to your bedroom. Okay. You know what I mean? That's not even an emergency, but they'll lie and say, well, my child is trapped in the bedroom, so I need somebody to come and take the lock off, and fix this lock on this on the bedroom. So you gotta go because they're saying that their child is locked in the bedroom. So I get out there, and it's this big grown man sitting on the couch. He could have did it. But because he's like, I'm paying rent, I ain't doing nothing. Right. Stop me from what I'm doing. Now I got to come to his house or their house, him and his wife's house, and fix the doorknob. And, I get there and, I fix the knob, go open the door. Ain't no baby in there. Ain't no baby trapped in there. No, they just lying. They just lying. Right. And it's just things like that, man. It's like, dude, you could have did this yourself, man. All you got to do is take the screws out, poke the knob out, open the door. That's it. But nah, they gotta call me out there, so. Right. Yeah, it's been that among many other stories, brother. I can go on and on for days.
That is great. And for those of you who are not in property management, on call means on call 24/7. Yes. You are on call. Is that correct?
Correct. You have no life when you're on call. Your life belongs to the property. So, yeah.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Oh, my gosh. So, How did you navigate through, okay, so you're on call and you're getting all of these, different things you got to run out for. Then you're getting up in the morning and still going to work after being on call, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you managing all of that?
Whoa, man. So you manage it, the best way you can. You have to have a family that's understanding, because it's not easy. So I was able to kind of navigate through that and manage all that, because whenever it was like my week to be on call, the only way to really navigate through it and manage it is I just really didn't schedule anything, because keep in mind, I was trying to pursue my music career as well. So, trying to do that as well as be on call to do what I needed to do, for the job. You know what I mean? There were certain things that, I just had to turn down and turn away, during my time in which, my week that I was on call, because, it was just very unprofessional to be in a studio session in which, someone is paid, $1,000 for the day for you to record, and then you get down there like, hey man, I got to go do this call. I'll be right back, or I might not be back at all. That's just not a good look. So, you always had to make sure that you were, available for your property, because you just never know what might happen, especially the property that I was at, in the wintertime. At that time, the property that I was working at was 30 years old. So keep in mind, I was I'm 57 years old now. At that time, I was about 25 years old. And that property then was 30 years old. You see what I'm saying? So it was a 30-year-old property back then. Yes. And they had these electric furnaces. They were electric. They weren't gas. So they had these heating coils that always broke in the wintertime. I mean, they always broke. You had a fuse that you always had to change to keep the heat, going. And man, them things, it never failed. They always seem to go out like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, And if it's, the middle of winter, you got to go fix it. Yeah. As well as hot water tanks. All the hot water tanks. This property was totally electric. There was nothing gas on the property. It was totally electric. So you had to fix hot water tanks. You had to fix heaters. And they were forever, going out on the property, in which these appliances were already 30 years old. So with that being the case, you were busy. So on your week to be on call, hey, bro, you don't schedule nothing, because you're not going to be able to be there.
Right. And you posed a good point. I know when I was on site working in property management, I know that, man, I worked on a few of those 30-year-old properties, and there is a difference, between that and a brand new build. Man, that's
huge
difference. Yes.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that breaks down, and depending on when you got there, stuff might have been just taped together, right?
Yeah.
Before you got there.
Somebody Jimmy rigged it before you got there. Yeah.
Yes.
Or the last maintenance guy, he just did just enough just to get it to work, because he didn't want to take the time to really, really fix it.
Yes.
So I've had situations where I've gone to, like, let's say, fix one of the electric heaters, and instead of them replacing the heating coil because it burned out, they would take the heating coil and tie it together, so that they would remain, keep some contact and work.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Or some of them would actually bypass the fuse for the heating coil so that it wouldn't blow out anymore. So the heating coil was direct current, and there was no fuse between the heating coil and, the heating element and the power source. So that was a safety hazard.
Oh my gosh. Right.
So when I encountered that problem, let's say at 2, 3 in the morning, if I leave it like that, then that's on me, because if it's found like that and I'm the last person worked on it, guess who's responsible? I am.
Yes.
So that means what would have been like a 30-minute job turned to like an hour and a half, a 2-hour job, because now I got to replace the entire heating coil. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there was definitely some heated conversations when I went back through the history of the repair on that furnace and saw who worked on it last. Oh yeah, it was a heated discussion. Yeah, so
well,
you name it, I saw
it. Tell me about, what was it like? Have you ever had like a property manager who didn't understand that side and was like, well, we need you here or we need you there at this apartment? Did you ever have to run into that?
Yeah, of course. Because, the thing is, a property manager, and nothing against property managers, because they got a job to do. And I understand that what happens when a resident does not get their need taken care of in what they consider a timely manner, they're going over that property manager's head, and they're going to the district manager.
Yes.
So that property manager is always going to make sure that they shine. They're going to protect their image. They're going to protect their reputation. They're going to protect their job. They're going to cover their rear end. They're going to do that. So, for the most part, they don't care about what you got to do, where you got to be, what you got going on. I need you here. I need you here right now. So yeah. I've dealt with that quite a bit. Now I have been extremely blessed in that one of my property managers, I never forget, her name was Miss Mary. I don't know if she's still alive now, but her name was Miss Mary, and she was so sweet. She was so sweet, and she really, really looked out for me. She was one of the nicest property managers I ever had. So. She was one of the few exceptions that was like really, 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 really cool, to work for, and I would do anything for. But you're going to always have that one at the property that's just, they're all about, take care of me and mine and make sure I'm good, cover my, tail and make sure I don't, he said, if anybody call that head office about me, then I'm coming to y'all, and that was a conversation that we might have in our meeting every day with the property manager. So,
oh my God,
yeah,
I worked on both sides of that, and maintenance and property manager, and so I think at times I was a little bit more understanding as a property manager.
Having been a maintenance man?
Yes. Right. But then I started to, as I stayed in it for a while, started to kind of understand the other side a little bit and started to forget a little bit, you know what I mean? But I had some maintenance guys that reminded me for sure.
Right. Yeah.
They like, bruh, you ain't down here. You don't know what's going on in this apartment. You know what I'm saying? So a couple times I stepped back and said, you know what? You right. That's your field. It ain't my field.
Right.
Let me step back. Right. So I know a couple times, the name of this podcast is By the Fifth. The rent's due on the 1st, but you better have it in by the 5th. But also, property management will sometimes make you want to buy the 5th. I know. Right. I know for sure.
Or buy a 5th, you mean? Buy a 5th?
Right, buy a 5th and call it a day.
Yeah.
Yes. So big ups to y'all out there on call right now going through this stuff in these 30-year-old apartments.
Lord have mercy.
But let's transition into that because you said you were working in your music at the same time, and for some people, maintenance, maybe that's their dream job, or maybe that's the job that they aspire to, or maybe being a supervisor there, but you had other aspirations to do music. How did you start to transition from maintenance into music? Like, what was that moment that you said, you know what, I can do this. I can go into this music thing?
So, I always had music as my dream. It was something that I always wanted to do. And anything else was going to be something that was going to be a stepping stone into my music. One thing that I remember my pastor, Bishop Johnson, telling us is, let your career fund your passion. So, you can have a career, but your career might not be your end all be all existence. So, a lot of people, they just want to go right into, they just want to be that starving artist. They want to be that songwriter. They want to be that music producer. They want to be that musician, but, you can't pay your bills. Well, what you should be doing is getting out there, get into the workforce and get out there, get focused and, get a regular job. Okay, a regular job, and let that job fuel your dream, your passion, what you want to do. Let that help pay for that. Let that finance your passion. So what I did while I was working, maintenance, of course, I got a break on the rent, and I took that money, that I wasn't having to spend on rent or a mortgage, and I saved that money. I invested in music equipment. You know what I mean? I purchased, bass guitars. I purchased drum machines. I purchased computer software. I was able to build up, a lot of things that I wanted, and I would devote time to it, whenever I had time, some free time. I was on my music. I was in it. I was doing it. I was always, getting in there and doing whatever I needed to do to build my dream because, working this 9 to 5, that's something I have to do. And one thing I always remember is, you do what you have to do now so that you can do what you want to do later. So, I had to do this maintenance now. It was okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I was created for. That wasn't what I was created for, And one thing that Bishop Johnson, my bishop, says, another thing he says, is that the two most important. He said the two most important days in your life is the day you realize, the day you realize what you were, why you were born, and the day you realize what you were born to do. I think it's something he said it's something like that. Let me go back to it. But anyway, it was something that, I knew that I needed to do for the moment in order to be able to reach my dream later on. So I had my dreams and aspirations, but I also had my realities. I had a family to support. I had bills to pay. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Although you have a dream, that dream, sometimes it takes time to come to fruition.
Yes.
So, I had to,
That's good stuff. Let me tell you, you were one of the ones who taught me to invest in your dream.
Right. Yeah,
When
yeah.
I worked, I seen you do it. I couldn't wait to go buy my first MPC, drum machine. I couldn't wait to go buy my first keyboard, and people would be like, man, you got all the stuff. I'd be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I invest in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it drove me nuts when I would meet others who didn't, but wanted to feed off of my stuff, but didn't want to invest in their own dream. It drove me nuts.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things, man, that you lived in front of me was invest in what you want to do. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Work that job,
Yeah.
do what you got to do, but invest in it.
Because you got to think, if you won't invest in yourself, why do you expect others to invest in you?
Oh, man,
So if
you
you're-
can say that again.
If you don't invest in yourself, don't expect others to invest in you. If you're not
Yes.
willing to invest in yourself, then like in my case, it was music. If I wasn't willing to invest in myself, then why would I be willing to think that record label is going to be willing to give me a $50,000, $100,000 budget to produce, music for their artists? They're going to look
Yes.
at me like, you don't even care enough about what you're doing to invest in yourself. Why do you think we're going to pay you to do XYZ and you haven't even invested in yourself? It doesn't make
Yes.
sense. So
Facts.
if you're going to, whatever it is that your dream is, be willing to invest in it. Be willing to take, whatever means necessary to make it happen. Put the money, you know what I mean, into your
Yes.
dream. Don't put that money in buying a pair of Jordans. Put that money into your dream. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes, come
Yeah,
on.
because I mean, that's what's going to get you to the next level.
Yes.
Like I said, do what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do later. Invest in yourself, because
Yes.
you're the only person that's going to pay you. You're the only
Yes.
person that's going to pay you. Your job will pay you, but they're going to get something out of you. But if you invest in yourself and you do the things that you need to do to make your dream happen, eventually your dream is going to pay you. It's going to pay you well too.
That's good, man. That is some good stuff. Oh my gosh, you preaching right now. I know it's Sunday, but you over there
man.
preaching.
About to ask you
So-
for an offering.
Right. So, do you remember your first major project in music?
Oh shoot. Well, the first thing I had the opportunity to work on was it was something with the production company Organized Noise.
Yes.
Those that might not know who they are, that's the production team that produced Outkast. They actually discovered Outkast and Goody Mob. So when I had the opportunity to work with them, that happened through it was a ex-girlfriend at the time. She had a brother that wanted me to. The brother needed a producer for his R&B group, and since I was already doing music, she asked me that would I be willing to listen to their group and produce them because they were trying to do a demo. So I did it, and I had no idea who they were going to take the demo to, but I come to find out that the demo was going to be given to Organized Noise. So we went to their house, which is called the Dungeon, and we actually went there. I took the demo, and they listened to it. They wasn't really crazy about my production at the time. I was still up and coming,
Okay.
but I'm gonna tell you how God works, man. So there was this bass guitar that was leaning against the wall, and it only had 3 strings on it. You know, basses normally have 4 strings. This one only had 3 strings. So I said, well, who plays bass? And they're like, well, no, we just have it, man. You know, we just try to mess around with it. And they were like, well, do you play? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, man, go ahead, pick it up. Let's see what you could do. So I started playing, and they started naming these bass lines from these popular songs. They're like, well, can you play this? Can you play that? So I started playing the stuff, right? The last bass line they asked me to play was Freddie's Dead by Curtis Mayfield. Da-doo-doo-doo, da-doo-doo-doo, da-boo-da-boom-boom. They asked me to play it, and I played it. And they're like, man, you know everything. So they asked me to do a session with them, you know. So like 2 weeks later, I went to the studio. It was a studio that Bobby Brown owned at the time. It was called Boss Town.
Yes.
And I went to the studio. You remember that? Yeah.
Yes.
So I went down to that studio, and they were working on a song for Jermaine Dupri's female R&B group called Escape. And this was the very first session I ever did. So if you go back to Escape's first album, it's a song on there called Tonight. And the song is just them singing a cappella and me on fretless bass. That's the entire song. There's no other music in the song.
Yes.
And that was my first recording session. So, because that was Jermaine Dupri's group, he eventually heard the record made the album. He inquired, who is that bass player? I think I like him. I think I want to use him. Who is that? So, Organized Noise manager at that time, his name was Ian Burke. He called me. He said, hey, man, Jermaine wants to use you. He wants to, book you for a session. So, I gave him your number. He's going to call you. So, congratulations. Jermaine's very busy. He's doing some big things. So, this is you on your way. So, I would say probably like a couple weeks later, Jermaine Dupri called, and I went over to his house, and first thing he had me work on was some stuff for Crisscross, and then stuff for Mariah Carey, then stuff for the Brat, and stuff, it was just like one after another. And then, man, the crazy thing is after that, Organized Noise needed me to come back and work on something for TLC. And we sat down and, we went back in Bosstown studio, and we sat down, me and these other 2 musicians, and we actually recorded what ended up being Waterfalls.
Yes.
So
yes.
when you hear Waterfalls, the intro to Waterfalls, you'll hear my bass. Boop, 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 boop,
Yes.
boop, boop, boop. That's that. Yeah. So I had the privilege of recording Waterfalls. Now, when one of my dreams when I got in the music business, or when I was aspiring to get into the music business, one of my dreams was to have my name written 1 million times. And I told the Lord, I said, God, I want to have my name written 1 million times. I said, I want something that I'm a part of to go platinum. I want my name written 1 million times in the credits, I want to be written and printed, 1 million times, go out over 1 million albums. So I'm going to tell you how awesome God is. My name was not only written 1 million times, but that record went on to sell over 11 million albums.
Wow.
It held number one. Wow. It held number 1 for over 11 weeks. You know what I mean? So that record right there, it opened a lot of doors for me and just totally, changed my life.
Wow.
And yeah, but, that's just, it's just one of those things that happened. And of course, being a part of a record like that, it opened a lot more opportunities, a lot more doors, and allowed me to, move on to, other things. And I was still a maintenance man. Okay.
Really?
I was still a maintenance man, but I was transitioning. At that point, I started transitioning. So once that record came out and my name got out there, a little more, it was enabling me to, start putting, forth the steps to make that transition to music full time.
That's amazing. I mean, like, I never realized the steps. Like, I remember certain things back then that happened. When you were telling me about, waterfalls, and then I remember it coming out and like all of that stuff. But I didn't realize that whole thing, how that worked. I'm going to show you something. You tell me what you remember. Can you see that?
Oh man, that's the T-shirt from the Outkast Players Ball Picnic.
Yes.
You still got that, man?
Still got it, brother. Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy. That thing worth some money, man. You need to hold on to that. That's classic.
Right. Tell the listeners about that day.
Man, that day. You talking about the day of the picnic?
The picnic, yes.
Yeah. Did you go with me?
I did.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because, man, that was the day that we first heard Biggie rap. He
Talk about
live.
it. Talk about it. Yes.
Man, Puffy,
Yes.
Puff Daddy brought Biggie to that picnic, and that was our first time hearing Biggie rap, and he murdered it. I
Yes,
mean,
he did.
murdered it.
Yes.
And we was like, oh my God, like, where'd this dude come from? Because his eyes was going two different directions. He was about 300 pounds, and he just did not look like he would sound the way he sound. But man, when that dude got on that mic, he just straight killed it. I mean,
He did.
it was like show over. I'm good.
It was.
I ain't got to hear
It
nothing
was.
else. I ain't got to hear nobody else. He was
Right.
amazing.
And back then, like, music was really localized to that area. And so,
Yeah.
like, in New York, the people who were from New York that was there, like, they knew the song. And you could hear them, getting into it. But us out there in Atlanta, that was our first time.
We had no idea.
Oh, right. We like, dude is killing it. Yes, man.
Yeah. It's very few rappers that impress me like that.
Yes.
But the very first time I heard Biggie, I was blown away. And he's been one of my favorite rappers ever since. It's like,
wow.
It's like every song on his albums to me is like could be a single, because he's just like that good.
Yes.
He is that good. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I gotta talk about my favorite remix of all times. And it ain't just because
Okay.
you my boy, but it is my favorite. It is on my playlist. When I am in my car driving, it will be played. And that is Meet Me at the Altar remix that you did. What's the group's name?
that's that was man, what are those dudes? The Let's Get Married remix.
Yeah, Let's Get Married remix.
Yeah,
with the Run DMC beat behind it.
Jagged
Edge. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, man. That is my stuff. I play it all the time.
So the thing about that is, that song that I created the beat from, that's my most favorite rap song of all time.
Wow.
And that's, that's Run DMC. It's like that, and that's the way
yeah,
it is.
the way it
That's
is.
like that rap song. That rap song right there, single-handedly got me into hip hop. Like that song. First time I heard it, I was hooked. I gotta be in it. I gotta be a part of hip hop, which made me, move into, wanting to do music and wanting to be a part of the whole hip hop movement here in the South. When it first was kicking off. So, with that being the song that I've loved so much, at the time I was a producer. I had a production deal with Jermaine Dupri, and he was looking for, some remixes for the singles that he was doing for his artists. So I took that song, Let's Get Married, and I said, well, you know what? The song is already a slow ballad. It needs to be a up-tempo dance record. Because you always, you want to take a remix, you want to do something opposite than what it is, and, to bring it back to life, so to speak, and get it back on the radio, get it back, make them shoot a new video. You always want to do something different than what it is. So let's say if it's an up-tempo song, you might want to make it a slow song. Or if it's a slow song, you might want to make it an up-tempo song. But anyway, you want to do a complete 180 from what the song is, if you're doing a remix. So because that was the current single that was being spun on radio at the time, I said, well, you know what, I'll just go ahead and just, take that record, try to remake it. And I had some cool ideas and stuff, but nothing was really, really like slamming the way I wanted it to. And that song, it came on the MTV. That was back when MTV actually played videos. Boy, imagine that.
Wow. Right.
But anyway, I had MTV playing in the background, and I was working on the remix, just, programming, doing all this stuff. And the next thing you know, that song came on. And while I had the record playing, it came on, the TV. And I'm like, man, I need to take that. I need to remake that. So that's what I did. I took it and I remade it. Now this is the crazy part. Normally when you do a remix and you remix a record, you have to redo the vocals. Because sometimes the vocals don't match up right because you change the tempo. Sometimes you change your tempo. Sometimes you got to change the pitch. Sometimes you got to change, different things. Or the way the artist might be delivering the vocals, you might have to re-record them so that it hits on the beat better, right? Okay. I took those a cappella vocals right from the original recording, and I put them on top of my track. And they hit perfect. I mean, you didn't have to change nothing. It hit perfect. Wow. Man, I finished that joint up. I think I did that joint probably in maybe about 4 or 5 hours. And I took it and I gave it to Jermaine's head of A&R, this dude named Eddie Weathers. I gave it to Eddie. I said, hey man, check it out. Let me know if you like it. He played it. And he was in the So Def record label in his office, and he heard. He's like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "Man, this thing is crazy." He said, "Man, I'm letting JD hear it tonight." He said, "Man, stay by your phone. I'm letting JD hear this tonight." So he took it over to Jermaine that night, man, and next thing I knew, my phone was blowing up. They was like, "Hey, get ready. You going to New York? You about to record with Run DMC." Because we putting them on this remix. Man, they said that Jermaine played that remix probably about 20 times that night, back to back to back. Man. Played it loud. He was like, oh my God. So after we recorded and mixed the remix, recorded and mixed the vocals with Run doing the vocals on it, Man, next thing I knew, they was ready to shoot a video to it. So they shot a video to it. At that time, Jagged Edge, their record sales had peaked at like 750,000. Okay. And they had stalled out. When that remix came out, that took them way over 1 million.
Wow.
It took them right to platinum. Yeah.
Wow.
And now it's an anthem. You know what I'm saying? It's like played at every wedding. Yes. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So yeah, yes. I was blessed. I was definitely blessed with that one.
I was cracking up when I think it was like JD and Puffy had the little thing going back and forth regarding the verses, and I think Diddy said something about, well, your music isn't played all the time like at weddings, and JD was like, oh, so they're not playing Meet Me at the Altar? Like, I was like, right, that song is always played. I was like, yes, indeed.
If the DJ don't have Let's Get Married, then he ain't a real DJ.
He ain't a real DJ.
Gotta be in his catalog. So.
Right. Absolutely. Man, definitely one of my favorites of all time, for sure. Man. So, wrapping this up, Mark, you had the opportunity to, work as a maintenance tech, work your way through that, and actually go in and fulfill your dreams, and your name being 1 million times. I mean, I was Googling you the other day and kind of looking for your bio, and there were so many Lamarquis Jefferson references and scrolls, and people, young kids, playing your stuff. You know what I mean? On YouTube with their bass guitars, you know what I mean? Doing the Lamarquis Jefferson on, whatever song. I'm like, wow, you've had these wonderful opportunities. How did the maintenance work? How did that, guide you as far as actually finding your dream? How did it play a part of who you are today and what you've accomplished?
Man, it played a huge part because it taught me that if you're faithful in the little things, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That you'll be given the opportunity to be faithful in much. Mm-hmm. So because I was, consistent, I was diligent, and a faithful worker on my job, God opened those doors for me to be able to walk through and work for myself. Also, no lie, being a maintenance man is not a pretty job. Mm-hmm. You gotta unstop toilets. Mm-hmm. You gotta deal with domestic violence when, that man kicked the door in. You gotta go fix it. While the police stand around. You gotta go fix that stove when it go out and it's Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. You gotta go fix it. And when you think about it, if you really, really think about it, it's a very negative job, because the only time you get called is when something's wrong.
Wow.
You got to think about that. No one ever calls you when things are going great. You never get a call and say, oh, he did a great job, or I just wanted you to come over here just so I could thank you to do this. That right. It might happen, but it's just not that often.
Yes.
So you have to keep the mindset that the only time I'm going to be called or needed is when something's wrong. And with rent being what it is today, I know down here, rent is starting at like $1,500, $1,700 a month for a one-bedroom apartment. Yes. So with rent being what it is, and these people are paying what they're paying, they want their apartment to be what? Perfect. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, everyone's already feeling the financial crunch. So when you approach that apartment, you're having to face somebody that's, not in the best of moods, because something's wrong in their apartment. So you're never going to get called unless something's wrong. So you always have to keep that in your mind, that you're having to go fix something. So the negative that I experienced doing maintenance, it really made me appreciate, okay, everything that I get to do now as far as, my music business and the industry and, the companies I've built, because I know where I came from.
Yes.
And I know where, I don't want to go back to that. I can, but I don't want to, But the thing that I always keep in mind is that I now understand that, me being a good worker and being a consistent worker, being there on time, not stealing time from the company, not stealing from the company, stealing stuff, and just being the type of worker that I would want to hire. Being the type of worker that I would want to hire. God has blessed me. He's blessed the works of my hands. And, whatever dreams that you have, those doors will be open. They will be open. And what determines how far you'll go when that door does open is your preparation. When opportunity meets preparation, that's when you have success. That's when you'll have success. So always be prepared for your opportunity when it comes. Because like my opportunity came when I just picked up that bass and they started asking me to play bass lines. If I didn't know any bass lines, I probably wouldn't have got called for my first recording session, which nothing would have happened the way it's happened up to now. But because I was prepared when I got the opportunity, now I have the success.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So,
man,
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah,
That's good stuff. I'm telling you what, and I want to say, Mark has not just a hustler, but you can hear that he is, a man who loves God and faith is a part of his life. And I tell you, this guy, man, did this stuff with so much integrity. I mean, think about all the wild stuff that was going on in the music industry, and this man kept a level head. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought that was so amazing, because that's when he was pulling my coattail. Like, man, you gotta relax, bro. You wildin', But he kept that level head, man, that I didn't have, and I just always thought that was pretty dope.
And look at you now. Look at you now.
Well, man, listen, I want to thank you so much for being a part of By the Fifth today, man. Your story is so inspiring. And I tell you what, man, like I said, it was like you was preaching. I was over here like feeling it myself, like, oh, man, you know what I mean? Like, such a powerful story. And I'm so proud of you and so excited for the things that are still to come in your life. And so we just appreciate you today, man, and thankful for the words of wisdom that you're giving our listeners, and I know here in Nashville for sure, we got a lot of young maintenance guys that are trying to make it here in country music in Nashville. And I'm sure this podcast is going to be a blessing to them.
I hope it is, man. I know, doing maintenance isn't easy, and it's a thankless job. It is, and every day you're going to go through something. Okay. You're going to go through something every day. There might be something that you encounter that is just hard to fix, or that resident's attitude that you're just unable to fix. Some people are just having a bad day. Some people fixing their door or fixing their AC, that's still not going to fix their attitude. It's not going to fix the issue with their heart, and, you're going to go through things like that. But just remember, you're going through it. So the fact that you're going through it means that you're going to get to the other side.
Yes.
Whatever that other side means for your life, you're going to get to the other side. And as long as you don't stay there in what you're going through, You just got to keep progressing, and you just got to keep pushing forward. Just got to keep moving forward, and you got to have a dream. You got to have a goal. You just don't need to stay where you are. You got to say, okay, this is my stepping stone, and this is going to be the way and means by which I get to what I want to do, and you'll get there. Just don't be complacent, and every day have a plan. Every day, have something that you want to accomplish that's going to get you further or closer to what it is that you want to do. So yeah, that's what I want your listeners to know. And Tico, I want to tell you, I've been watching you, brother. You're really, really doing, good things. You've come a long way. And, you're being blessed immensely, your entire family. And just keep doing what you're doing, brother. Just keep taking it to the next level, because there is no limit to what you'll be able to do. You are the only person that would ever be able to limit you, and I don't see any limits in you.
Man, thank you, brother. That means a lot to me, for sure, man. We go, man, way back, and I appreciate you, man. I love you, and again, thanks so much for blessing us today with your words, and we'll do it again sometime, brother. Well, we're going to end this for today. By the Fifth Podcast, be sure to go over there and look at YouTube. We got some fun stuff on there, and check out Lamarquis Mark Jefferson and all that he has going on. And man, we'll see you on the next episode. God bless.